big focus. Bangladesh is soon going to go to polls, but it has always been a country with a lot of controversy surrounding its polls. This election is no different to the history of the country to have disturbed polls. There are still demands of the opposition government that are currently being ignored, and the BNP, which is one of the opposition parties, has decided to overall boycott the elections. The party has even done a mass strike and demonstration, but with no effect. In the latest incident, a train has now been allegedly attacked, in which the whole train caught fire. Well, clearly, of course, these are the big developments playing out in Bangladesh ahead of polling there. Ambassador Suresh Goyal, a former diplomat, joins us live. We also have Major General Gigi Dwivedi, Strategic Affairs expert, joining us live. Colonel Sanjeet Sirohi, Foreign Affairs expert, is live with us. Madhav Nalapat, editorial director of the Sunday Guardian, is also joining us live. Professor Madhav Nalapat, let me begin with you first on how you are viewing these latest incidents which are rocking Bangladesh. Of course, they come very soon before the country goes to polls.
Well, the problem is that so far as the BNP is concerned, they don't want to fight elections because they're quite certain they'll lose. And it's not they're not going to lose because of rigging. They're going to lose because Sheikh Hasina has stabilized Bangladesh, has created a lot of extra jobs, has improved the gross national product of Bangladesh significantly. And frankly, as a consequence, people of Bangladesh are reasonably happy. Now, the point is there was a past in Bangladesh where there were riots, tension, the roads were blocked, people could not go to work, there was no work. And that kind of the past is frankly what the BNP is known for. So what is happening now is that they realize they're going to lose at the ballot box. So I think some elements are now resorting to other means, like this kind of violence. And it's extremely unfortunate. At the same time, you have the United States, the European Union, who are basically saying to the Bangladesh government, you must tolerate this violence. You must tolerate this kind of arson and other activity. Now, would they tolerate in their own countries? Of course not. Then why in Bangladesh? Frankly, it's one of the many examples of the double standards of both sides of the Atlantic, the US and the European Union, where it comes to countries in more distant parts of the world.
Yes. Okay. Let me, in fact, quickly take that across to Colonel Sanjeet Sirohi as well. Colonel Sirohi, this is, of course, an unprecedented election of chaos that it seems that Bangladesh is heading into. What do you make of this latest incident that has been reported from the country of now a train also having been burnt?
There, let me tell you that firstly, this is not the first time it has happened. In fact, if you remember, last month also there was a fire in the train and in which 4 people have died. This is the normal modus operandi of the opposition party in Bangladesh. Wherever the elections are there, and as Professor Madhav have brought out, that BNP now knows that they are going to lose it. So it is better to blame the government over everything what is happening. That's why their senior leader, Rahul Rizvi, has said that this all has been instigated by the government. So whatever is happening, the main aim is, because they have already said that for 2 days they have asked for a general strike in Bangladesh. They don't want that election to go free and fair. And as a result of which, later on they can blame the government that there was a lot of rigging on that. So I think this is all pre-planned and this has been premeditated, and whatever is happening, it is not the first time. It had happened earlier also, and this is the normal, like even the polling booth have been burnt, polling booth have been attacked, 4 primary schools have been attacked by the workers of the BNP. So I think the government has already deployed their troops and it was expected. And I think the elections will go as per plan and everything will come out very fast.
Okay. Major General Dwivedi, what is your take, of course, on what is to be expected now in the Bangladesh polls ahead, given the fact that obviously now we are seeing a poll booth set on fire, train, of course, as I just spoke about. Meanwhile, on ground in Dhaka, the BNP has come out onto the streets in a big manner.
Well, Uday, those of us who follow Bangladesh closely, I think violence is an essential feature of Bangladesh elections, and it has a history. And right from its inception, this has been the pattern. And this election, the 12th time they are going to polls, is going to be no different. Well, there are a number of reasons, and I fought Bangladesh war, followed the nation very closely. There are a number of reasons for this. First and foremost, I think between the two parties, Awami League, which stands for democratic secular values, other side you have the Bangladesh National Party, where a lot of hardliners and radical elements are there. So therefore, ideologies are totally different and they're not compatible. Secondly, Bangladesh National Party believes in a zero-sum game. They do not want to enter the political arena because they know that they will always come out as second best. So therefore, their effort is always to abort the elections or make it more violent. The third important point that we have to understand is that external forces are also at play to want to destabilize Bangladesh, and as rightly brought out by the earlier panelists, that Bangladesh has seen, I think, a period of stability, prosperity, and it's a nation that which is actually on the progressive track. But the external forces which are inimical to the nation do not want to do that. But I would like to make two, three important essential points. What is going to happen after the election? Because as it stands, I think there's no doubt that Awami League is going to come to power, and Sheikh Hasina will be the fourth-time Prime Minister. But what after that? That's very important. First and foremost, I think West, they have been, towing a line, a very platonic line about the circulars, about the HR, which have double standards, and they are going to take a still tougher line. Secondly is the Bangladesh National Party. They are not going to reconcile with the victory of Awami League, and they are going to create mischief. And third is that India's stance, how India will play it out, because the Western powers will expect India to come, more vocally against the Sheikh Hasina government, which will be little. I think we'll have to do a tightrope walking. And the last essential point is that we have to ensure that Bangladesh government is supported by us, and also we elevate certain amount of pressure from the West, because that's in our interest, Uday.
Yes, let me also, in fact, quickly take that across to Ambassador Suresh Kumar Goel. Ambassador Goel, your first comments on these latest incidents which have rocked Bangladesh, which are raising concerns on the upcoming elections that the country is going in for.
Yes, okay. Very unfortunate, I would say, particularly because violence, as Major General Dwivedi said, seems to have become a kind of regular feature of all elections in Bangladesh, particularly because of the very, I wouldn't call it tough, but basically the contest, the very difficult contest between the two parties, BNP and Awami League. And BNP has been trying to come back into power over the last two elections after Sheikh Hasina began her term as the Prime Minister. Now, the fact is that all said and done, Bangladesh has prospered quite substantially during the period of Sheikh Hasina as the Prime Minister. The economy has improved, grown rapidly, and for the first time, the GDP per capita of Bangladesh is competing with that of India per capita, and the industrialization, markets, and everything. Therefore, there is a clear sense of BNP losing ground rapidly in the country unless they can come to power. That is number one. I think it will be useful to really see how the elections are to go. But we know that there are other powers who are interested in influencing the elections. Given the fact that there are others who could have different outcomes in their interest, we would do really best to keep away from what is happening there in terms of elections, maintain our good and substantive relations with the current government. Number two, the current government, even though it's a caretaker government, must come down effectively against any kind of violence taking place, whether it is a train arson or whether it is arson and the violence at the poll booth, wherever. The polls are scheduled tomorrow, I think. And I think there is very little time, but the violence must be controlled in order for the polls to take in a peaceful environment. And therefore, till the elections are over. And I'm quite certain that once the elections are over, we should see these kind of poll incidents coming down. Till then, take firm control of the law and order situation, and the government of India just stay away from it. Let them handle it on their own. I'm quite certain that Sheikh Hasina knows how to handle these situations. Uday.
Yes, politically though, how do you believe, Professor Nalapa, this is going to pan out? Obviously, the BNP using this on ground there. They are already threatening boycott. There were protests on ground today. Another political party protested as well. Politically, how do you believe this is panning out?
Well, I'd like to point out that if you remember, the liberation of Bangladesh by the Mukti Bahini and the Indian Army, basically the United States opposed it, fiercely opposed it. And the problem in the United States is that there are countries where policy essentially is left to middle ranks. And as a consequence, not much thought is given to the kind of policy that these middle ranks initiate. And many of these individuals are heavily influenced by lobbyists. So in the case of the Bangladesh situation, there's a very strong lobby. For example, the Chinese are very unhappy about the good relations that Sheikh Hasina has with India, and the Americans, unfortunately, the section in America that has not forgotten that Sheikh Mujibur Rahman was opposed by America. So they're continuing the same policy of opposing the family, the daughter of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. So this is the problem. As far as India is concerned, the fact is the Ukraine war has shown very clearly that India has resisted pressure to cut off relations with Russia, and I'm sure that there will be no difficulty at all in resisting any Western pressure to go against Bangladesh, the current government, for the simple reason that between the two, BNP and Awami League, the Awami League is by far the better alternative, not just where relations with India are concerned, but relations with their own people is concerned. And I just want to say one thing clearly, Uday, that yes, if efforts are on to create law and order problems and to create violence, there needs to be very strong action taken. And of course, you're going to see, you'll probably see even Anthony Blinken and others say, oh my God, what is going on? Well, the fact is, if cities are burning in the United States, what would the Homeland Secretary of the United States do? Sit in his living room and just sip coffee? Of course not. So this is a plain double standard. And frankly, this kind of double standard is what has made so many people in other parts of the world lose faith in the West and frankly lose any confidence in the impartiality of the West and frankly in the common sense of Western policy, especially where countries like Bangladesh are concerned.
Right. Let me, in fact, also quickly, get in Major General Dwivedi's viewpoint on the political ramifications of this all. Do you believe these are toppling attempts by the BNP? How should this be interpreted politically? And what ramifications will it have? What bearings will it have on the political road ahead and, of course, the upcoming elections?
Well, Uday, I think if you look at the political spectrum, we need to look at from two angles. One is the international geopolitical setting, and secondly, within the country, how it is plays out. Firstly, as Professor Nalapat brought out, that in a very strong China-Pakistan lobby that is working against the larger interest of Bangladesh because Pakistan has not reconciled. And worst is for them is that Bangladesh today is miles ahead of Pakistan in any parameter that you take. So therefore, Pakistan is not able to digest it, and Pakistan-China lobby is always working against Bangladesh, and especially when you see the relation between India and Bangladesh. Secondly, it's very surprising and in fact intriguing that at one hand, America is the champion of democratic norms and secular system, and there couldn't be better government than the government of Awami League, Sheikh Hasina was it, that they are the ones who actually personify democratic norms. And this is for the larger good of South Asia, that Bangladesh, the party which believes in secular democratic system, comes to power.
Yes.
And third important point which I want to make is that within Bangladesh, people are still not reconciled with the Sheikh Hasina and the Awami League in power because they are always forces which want to topple this very progressive route that Bangladesh has taken. And as I brought it earlier, that Pakistan is one factor which will go to any extent to ensure that Bangladesh is in amidst instability and its relationship in India always remain on the tenterhooks. So all I can say is that we need to look at both the international picture and also within Bangladesh, but for larger interest of South Asia and particularly for us, it is now our favor that current dispensation comes to power again, and that will be good for the region at large.
Okay, okay. Ambassador Goel, politically speaking, what bearings do you believe this will have on the Sheikh Hasina government? Should these be read as toppling attempts? Politically speaking, what is the road ahead looking like, in your opinion?
Look, the thing, Uday, is that when you talk about toppling efforts by BNP or by the other countries, I'm quite confident that Sheikh Hasina government is going to be able to handle these kind of challenges. She's experienced enough, she's firm enough, and she's politically astute, very, very astute to know how to handle these things. My concern really in this particular case of Bangladesh is that the USA is trying to basically see a change because there is a sense that they may think that Sheikh Hasina is getting closer to China than what they would like it to be. In terms of the connectivity projects, in terms of the impact on the Bay of Bengal, in the Eastern Pacific. Therefore, my concern really would be that Bangladesh should not become a place where China, Pakistan, and the USA begin to contest for the political influence and the other powers then would try and jump in. And for India, it could become even another sector right on its doorstep where it has to deal with the major power challenges. Therefore, for us, I'm quite convinced that to deal with these power challenges and to deal with the issue of development and stability in Bangladesh, at the moment, the best bet is Sheikh Hasina. So let us keep our fingers crossed. Let us hope that the apple cart is not overturned and that things continue in the same manner as they are at the moment. That is in growing stability and growth of Bangladesh with Sheikh Hasina as the Prime Minister. Uday.
All right. Let me take that quickly across to Colonel Sirohi as well, because Colonel Sirohi, the fact is that this will obviously have immediate ramifications and on the elections ahead in Bangladesh. They're almost staring them in the face now. Do you believe the BNP is behind this? What is your assessment? Whose hand do you see in the spiraling violence? And do you believe Sheikh Hasina will be able to handle this?
Uday, let me be very clear that whatever is happening in Bangladesh since the elections were announced, it is all doing of the BNP. And as already brought out by the panelists, that because BNP knows that they cannot win the election and Sheikh Hasina will win the election, they are trying to do their best to somehow make sure that if anything goes wrong, all blame should come to the government. And there is no doubt about it that nowadays the election in any country are not only decided by the people of that country, they are also decided by the foreign countries, for the other countries. Like in this case, not only America, even China and Pakistan are interested because as already been brought out, Sheikh Hasina is showing two fingers to China. If you see last few months, they are not taking too seriously China government. So what is happening is that the China government doesn't want the Sheikh Hasina should come. Similar is the case with the United States. They also don't want Sheikh Hasina to come. And as far as Pakistan is concerned, as already brought out by General Dwivedi, that they have not reconciled to the fact that this Bangladesh was part of Pakistan. So I think whatever is happening in Bangladesh, it is the only aim of BNP, which is being sponsored by other foreign players is only to make sure that the election, they don't go as per the plan. And then if anything goes wrong, the blame comes to the government. But I can assure you, Sheikh Hasina, Prime Minister, she has been in power for quite some time. She has won last 3 elections. And this is the 4th election, and I am 100% sure she is going to win it. And with her experience, she will be able to handle all the situation. 8 lakh security personnel have already been deployed. Each and every corner has been properly secured. And tomorrow when the elections take place, although some problems will come in, some problems will be created, but I think they will sail through, the government will sail through, and we will see Sheikh Hasina Begum again becoming the Prime Minister of the country.
Okay, is that, but given that Sheikh Hasina is looking like, that she's going to go in for a landslide win in this election, Professor Nalabat?
Well, I don't know about landslide, but the fact is that it was Sheikh Hasina's father who essentially was the freedom fighter.
Yes.
And unfortunately, the BNP has many elements who are very closely linked with Pakistan. You go to Dubai, you go to, or some of those countries in West Asia, and you will find that the BNP people frequently meet them. In fact, even in neighboring Nepal or in places like Malaysia, you will find the BNP people are going there and they are meeting people from Pakistan, including several connected with the military. The connections are very obvious, judging from those meetings, judging from their foreign travel itineraries. So I'd like to say that I fully share the view of those discussants who said that the Sino-Pak lobby is completely opposed to Sheikh Hasina for the simple reason that the Chinese want satellites. They're not happy with friends. They want satellites. Like, for example, Pakistan has become of China. And the Sheikh Hasina is a proud leader. She will not surrender her father's legacy of an independent Bangladesh that is not only respected by the world, but which has got self-respect. So I think this problem is going to continue for some time, but I'm only really unhappy that junior people in the US State Department especially are able to hijack the policies of the US government and the Biden administration and go against a country that frankly is ruled by a party that represents the much more moderate and progressive view than the alternative.
Yes, okay. Major Dwivedi, your quick closing comment now on what's to be expected in the elections. What is your prediction of what is going to happen?
Well, I think as far as the election results are concerned, I don't think any doubt is there that Sheikh Hasina will be back into power for the 4th time. What margin, whether landslide or otherwise, that can't be predicted. But she is definitely going to have the 4th term. And secondly, I think people of Bangladesh, because I keep in close touch with various elements in the government as well as in the country, that they are quite satisfied with the performance of Sheikh Hasina and Awami League. And they like to see the prosperity, and they're not going to be influenced by the destructive or the element which want to impede the Bangladesh progress. So I think that the current dispensation is well placed to take Bangladesh forward, and I think the evil design of the inimical forces are not going to stand the test of time. And I feel that with this present government, Bangladesh is in for better days than what it is today. Uday.
All right, let's leave it at that. My thanks to all of our guests for joining us.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.